Surprising move, a federal judge in Brownsville, Texas, who was appointed by Donald Trump, ruled against the president in a lawsuit brought by three individuals who are known only by their initial. They were challenging the application of the Aliens Enemies Act against them, and they face removal to Venezuela, where they're originally from. And so they filed it as a class action. And if you'll stay with me, I'll explain to you the class action part and the judge's ruling. So the judge first addressed the issue, this legal concept that's never been addressed before, and that is, does the Rule 23, Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, Rule 23, which governs class action, applies to habeas proceeding? And so these individuals were facing class action removal based on an Aliens Enemies Act, and there's a bunch of other Venezuelan that would also be facing the same removal. And so the judge first went through the analysis of class action and broke it down. And I'll do the same for you because I'm a class action. So the first part, the first factor for class action under Rule 23 is numerosity. The government challenged the fact that no individuals in the Southern District of Texas, Brownsville, actually have been designated as Venezuelan who are facing the Alien Enemies Act. Okay. But what the plaintiffs did was that they referred to another proceeding where the government identified 86 individuals who were Venezuelan and subject to removal based on the Aliens Enemies Act. And so the judge looked at it and said, hey, 86 is numerous. That's enough individuals to satisfy element one of the class. The second element is commonality. And usually in the class action, you're looking at, do they have the same economic loss, same type of violations? So in this situation, the proclamation by the president that individual Venezuelan would be designated as enemies under the AEA would then, that designation would mean that there'll be a violation of the Convention Against Torture if they were to be removed and placed in a Venezuelan prison, mega prison, and also the Immigration and Nationality Act. So the legal concept is like, hey, this proclamation would designate at least 86 individuals as enemies under the AEA, and then there'll be a violation of two separate acts. And as a result, that legal concept has been satisfied in that they're all common. It doesn't matter if they are criminals or not, or whatever the individual is. It's just a proclamation that they are enemies under the AEA would subject them to violations of at least two acts, and also they're facing removal. Now, the other aspect is the typicality. And does the named plaintiff have the same damages and remedies and theories that the whole class does? And so the answer is yes, because they're being designated as enemies under the AEA. And so that designation is going to be very similar to everyone else that this class applies to. The fourth element is adequate representation. The government did not challenge the professionalism and qualification of class counsel. That's what adequate representation means. Now, let's talk about the application of Rule 23 class action to the habeas corpus. Well, the judge just said yes, it does apply. So Rule 23 has been satisfied and it does apply to habeas removal proceeding. And the judge issued and signed. Typically, in one of these class action, the judge will describe what the class is. And if you read the order, it described the class member as Venezuelan aliens who are 14 years or older, who have not been naturalized, and has been designated as an alien enemy under the AEA by the government. So the judge also designated Lee Gerlin, who is a lawyer with American Civil Liberties Union Foundation. to represent the class. So as a result, you have the okay for the plaintiff to proceed as a class action, and they will then fully brief the class later on, and now you have a class action. So I just gave you a quick survey of what a class action proceeding is, the factors that's considered, and I just told you about the order that was signed by Judge Rodriguez, designating and identifying these three individuals as class representative who can proceed in a class action. Okay, back to work.